Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. As-salatu salam ala Rasulillahi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Innani ote subhanahu wa ta'ala amtanani wa shukri. Salamu alaikum. Rahmatullahi barakatuh lil ikhwani khwati fi din. Salamu ala mani tabahuda lil ikhwani khwati fi Africa, Europa, Asia, Caribbean, America, kuli makan. Halim wa salim bikum. Anjarama. How you doing today, my dear brothers and sisters? I hope that you're safe and that you are enjoying your day today. And those in the United States, I know the tragedy is happening in California with the wildfire. And, this is par for the course today, brothers and sisters, because we know that Subhanahu wa Ta'ala is not happy with us, Jews, Christians, or Muslims. So things like this are going to be happening everywhere around the world. So I'm hoping that you and your families stay safe wherever you may be in this dreadful dunya that is so wicked today. With that said, brothers and sisters, as you notice the marquee today, Ancient Kemet and the importance of the black man. Yeah, Christians, Jews, and Muslims. Irrespective, before we had our ancestors become Muslims or Jews, Hebrews, or Christians, this mighty civilization preceded that. This mighty, powerful, well-versed in technology and many other things that we borrowed from through the ages. And it has been taken from us, as you heard me say many times about this particular place we call Kemet, the land of the black people. And today I wanted to also get into something to talk to you about this, to give you this education, to strengthen you again about this. This is a very important place for the black man, because this gives you the impetus to hold your head up and say, we had the first civilization, and this civilization was the greatest of mankind. It was a civilization that Subhanahu wa Ta'ala taught to our learned men and the prophets who were there 5,000, 6,000 years ago or more. And we were black. The land Kemet is the black lands. Before there was the area called Takrur, which they call the West Indian Africans Takruri. Before they switched over to Sudani, meaning the black man. We were known and had this term Kemet, and I'll give you more to this as we proceed. It's very important for you, my black brothers and sisters, where you may be, to understand this history, because it's been sideswiped. Every time you go to Google, you see every type of thing you can imagine that takes us from it. And Google still have not cleared a lot of this fallacy of showing everybody white. Even they show the Nubians as being Tuba. So with that said, brothers and sisters, there's something very important here. You sitting in America or the West Indies or the Caribbean, wherever you may want to call that, and Europe, Canada, South America, and you cling on to black nationalism. over 5,000 years before that, your ancient ancestors in there did it as well. And we had these names here. Excuse me, not here. It's not here. Excuse me. Oh, I can't believe they did this. Yeah, okay, here we go. Brothers and sisters, I'm going to give you something in the original language that your brothers and sisters spoke there in ancient Egypt to prove to you that they were black folk. So we'll have this for history upon time. This is some of the linguistics that we use that you see I harp on a lot of times. Our greatest of all scholars went to linguistics. Linguistics, along with the Mellon test, proved us that we were black, that it was our land. It was ours. Here, Kemt, you see at the top, KMT in English vernacular. It actually means something black, okay? We have many of our West African dialects that still have versions of this word Kemt in it, meaning charcoal, black, roasted. It means many different names. But in the Meher Neher, this here meant the lands of the black, meaning black lands, meaning owned by the black people. Then we go now into the grammar. Kemt T. Kemt T has to do with the black person, a person meaning like me. Yahya, he's Kemt T, meaning Yahya is a black man. Yahya is black. Okay, now in Meher Neher to your left at the bottom, KMT/T/Y, meaning Kemet to you, meaning that black people. Okay, I hope that you guys can see this and understand that this is linguistics that a lot of people don't touch. You have a lot of classes on this. People don't get into this because many times we left scratching. We don't know when we hear the talk being talked about by many of our well-meaning brothers and sisters who deal with this of Kemt. They don't give it to you and explain it to you in a way that you can understand. Meaning, when you hear Pharaoh, well, what period of time we talking about Pharaoh? Because also in the name Pharaoh, before there was Pharaoh, as we understand it, we had Fari in Meher Neher. Fari means Pharaoh. It was borrowed from that, and the ancient the Greeks who came there, they had a hard time pronouncing these words. So Fari became Pharaoh. You understand? Fari. So before any of this took place, these languages that were spoken, we have many that was incorporated that is still spoken today, brothers and sisters, as you heard me say. Now, when we talk about a person and we describing somebody, you see KMT in the center here, Kemt. Kemt grammar possibly means one person, a black person, and so forth and so on. Then at the end here, at the bottom, is the person meaning black people general. I'll give you something else to this as well in the Meher Neher to again explain to you about why the people were black. This is undisputable because this is our language. We spoke this. We found this in the Kemetic writings. We know we have versions of this that was written. We know one is the top, meaning the land that owned by the black folk. Then we have Kemti. We know that means a person, a black person. He was described. This person was described maybe from Nubia, and he was Shabaka, Kemti Shabaka. Okay, Shabaka, black man. Shabaka, a black man, or Shabaka is black. See. And then when we talk about some people, then we call Kemetiyu in Meher Neher, meaning a whole race of people. But we also have something meaning black people. So again, We looked at these things here and we proved that this is for us. This is our language. This is what our ancestors wrote about their land, about the people in it. This is important, brothers and sisters, because this is undisputable. So all of the stuff you hear today of all these historians who are racist as can be, our brothers sitting in Egypt who now have taken on the racism and the genocidal racist tendencies and notions of Europeans and Tubab Americans. They can't dispute this. When you hear them and they argue, you ask them, what about this Kemp and Kempti and Kemptiu? And you ask them about that. And they let them try to explain that. And let them explain to you about the grammar of the Metaneher. They can't. So I'm giving this to you. This is elementary stuff here. Elementary meaning for you, just so you can have this little bit to explain to you about that. Now we take it further. Why we know this belongs to us. Why it's important for you as a black man to understand that. You may say, hey, well, in today's era, racialism is gone. Oh, really? We have discrimination is higher now than any other part of in history. It is so racist as we speak today. Not only is the Tubab, the general Tubab, hate us. We have Asians that hate us. We have people who are the same color as us in the subcontinent. They hate us. We have people in the South Pacific who are black like us. They hate us. We have our Mexican brothers and Central American brothers and South American brothers. Some of them are dark as well and have our heritage. They hate us. So, and I used the analogy last week talking about how when you start talking to the Mexican, you start talking to the Bolivian, you start talking to the Ecuadorian, or you start talking to the Nicaraguan, you start telling them, look, you have black heritage, they run away from it. Because why? We don't export, we don't show our love for who we were. So how you can ask a Mexican to claim or to admit to his African history and to his heritage when you don't? How, black man in America, especially you, because you're the closest one to him. This is what I'm talking about. But this gives you impetus to show you that you were on the world stage at the beginning and you were the man. It was you. Subhanahu wa ta'ala was talking to you first. See? And he gave you religion first. He gave you language first. He gave you everything first. He gave you the riddles and rhymes and the mysteries of the inner space, what you hear me talking about for weeks now. So now you have this, brothers and sisters. Now you have this. Let's get deeper into this. Now, when we got down to the Old Kingdom, as you heard me talk about in class, is the first 6 dynasties. A lot of times, nobody talks about this. You'll hear this, you hear that, and you don't understand. You hear Ramses, you hear all these names of people. You try to figure out, okay, man, Egyptian history was long. But when was this? Who, what kingdom? People, our brothers and sisters are not explaining this well. In the first dynasty of the dynastic period, from the first to the 6th was the golden. This is where all of the advances of sciences, mathematics that the world brought, calendars, the pyramids, all this was garnered in the first 6 dynasties, which we call the Old Kingdom. When you were a king, now get a load of this. You hear me talking for weeks. I've had people so upset. I don't, as you heard me say 1,000 times, I don't understand why black people would be upset when I start talking about the languages and talking about the religion that was practiced, because it's a precursor that it had the Tawheed in it. Now, you see the Horus name, and you have the Pharaoh. Now, this is how they went. The Pharaoh used, Pharaoh again is modern language and language taken from the Greeks, because we know in Metaneher that the Pharaoh was actually Phari. Phari became Pharaoh. Now you understand the correlation. But in Metaneher, the Phari was the king, or we know him as Pharaoh. Now, they had 5 names, as you can see here. Get a load of the 3rd name, golden horse and Ka name. Remember, we talked about this many times before, the Ka. But look at the last one while I'm trying to prove something to you. Excuse me, not the last one. Next to the last, you said Sutin Ba. You've been hearing me talk about Ka and Ba for a long time now. What's important for you, black man, black woman, Muslim, Jew, Christian, is Sutin Ba. Sutin actually means south. Ba, in this instance, in grammar, meaning place or people. Okay, but we know that in the grammar, Ba also means the spirit that dwells in the inner space. As you heard me say, the Ka, remember Ka is earthly, and Ba is in the heavens. But our ancestors had 5 names. The Pharaoh, as you want to call him, he had 5 names. Sutin Ba tells you from the south. Now, brothers and sisters, what do they mean by the south? You know the map of North Africa. If we go south, where are we heading to? Are we heading into Europe, into Scandinavia? Are we heading into Jazira Arab? No. Are we into Western Europe? No. Are we going towards South America and the Americas? No. Sutin Ba means south area, people. Sutin Ba. Ba, again, this is grammar. Ba has many meanings. It could be a group of people. It could be a place, okay? Or it could be like a area or something. They use the word Ba to cover that. But in religious context, Ba, as you know, means the spirit, the rest in the heavens. So this gives you indication, brothers and sisters, Sutin Ba means the south. Now, let's look at this. The south. I'm going to give you the names here in a few minutes. The pharaohs, the Pharaoh, had to have a name because they all came from the south. South of present day, we know Egypt. I'll give you the names to give you even more indication here, but so that way you can understand. Some brothers say, well, Yahya, why are you doing this? Because there's a lot of programs, brothers and sisters. I love my brothers and sisters who are going to bat, who are trying to bring our history to us. I want to support them. But I've been sitting back for weeks. I've been trying to figure out, I'm listening to them, even which I know the history, but I'm looking at it from a standpoint of like my sister. My sister came to me, she told me, she said, look, I want to learn. And I want to understand. But if I asked her a question about Kemet, she can't give me a lot of answers to that. She can tell me some things. So here I'm trying to bridge that gap so you can have an understanding about why these people are black. You see? So now, remember I said Sutin. Sutin means, again, the south of. This is the south of Egypt, down below, meaning going into present-day Sudan, going into present-day Cameroons and areas like that, going all the way down to northern part of Mozambique, all of this. Now, so the Sutin Ba is the name that we know. So in other words, let's look at it in modern times today, okay? Let's look at it in modern times and let's do it this way. A brother from Mississippi comes into LA where, I was born and raised and so forth. I look at the brother and so forth and so on. I ask him a question. I say, look, man, where are you from in the South? You understand? This is the same way there is. They had this connotation to give the name because they know everybody. So they want to know where you came from in the South. Sutin Ba. So who the Ba? Who are the people of the Ba? Meaning, in this instance, did they come from the East? Did they come from the West, Southwest? You see, this is why this name. The name of the pharaoh was very important. So again, the Sutin Ba is with the stars there. This is important, brothers and sisters, because it gives the indication when he was pharaoh. We had to know what is your name? What is your southern name? Oh, my people. Ba meaning the people who are in Cameroons. I'm just giving you an example. This is how we talk. Sutin Ba means south of. So now you have this indication. Now, we talked about that, brothers and sisters, to give you a more of an indication here. Excuse me, let me get to our brothers and sisters who are here today. We see who we got here. We got, how are you doing, my dear brother? Walaikum salam, rahmatullahi. Thank you. No problem, I understand. I'm hoping that you got shifa now and that you're feeling much better. Thank you for showing up, my dear brother. I really do appreciate that. Thank you very much. So now, brothers and sisters, we get to the nitty gritty of the black man's homeland. Our ancient black Egyptian brothers had names for areas. Ta Mary was also the name meaning holy land of Egypt was Ta Mary. Ta Seti was the area meaning those of the bowl, the sacred land, holy land of those meaning present day Ethiopia, Somaliland, or Eritrea, Sudan proper. Now, here's the one that many people don't talk about, brothers and sisters. Ta Neger. Okay, this is in again in Metu Ta Neger is again the area that I was showing you here. This is Ta Neger that the when they made excursions, they call all of this the Holy Land. This is where we go, brothers and sisters, to prove that on the hieroglyphics, what did our brothers say where they came from? They did not mention that they were Tubal and they were from the Greeks. Because how? How could they be the same color when you had a awestruck great historian by the name Herodias? If they were white, he would not, he would not describe them. What did he call them? He said they were black, burnt by the sun, and kinky hair, burnt by the sun. So they were not the same as he was. He's a white man. He's a Tubal. He saw these people. So we have that. Now, when they made excursions down south, they began to call regions Ta Neger. Okay, now here we are here. This is Sudan, part of Cameroon's going all the way across the central part. This feeds the Nile. Our brothers said they came from the mouth of the beginning of the Nile. If you look here, it's going you see the blue going all the way up into Egypt. This stretches to these areas. Our ancestors said they came from this region where the beginning of the Nile. There's many rivers that feed the Nile. This is why they call this place the Holy Land, because at this time it was luscious. It still is luscious today. I mean, beautiful, full of water, game to hunt, land to everything that you would want. So now you understand we had those names for these areas. And this is important that you understand this. Ta Mary, Ta Seti, and Ta Nasir. This is Meher Neher. Some I gave you modern, and other at the end I gave you actually what it is, and Meher Neher, the original, what we call classical Meher Neher. Okay, so I gave it to you. Now you have a better understanding what's going on. I give you this, brothers and sisters, again, so that way when you go to our talk shows and you hear some of our brothers, you have more of an indication, because they're not giving you, they're telling you this, they're telling you that, but they're not giving you a lot of information to help you discern, because there was 30 kingdoms, okay, in Egypt, 30. So when you start talking, you should tell the brothers and sisters when you talk, what period of time was this, and how many pharaohs. They said it was 4,000 some pharaohs. So when you say pharaoh, what do you mean by pharaoh? So you have to understand which pharaoh, because it was 4,000 or more of them. Some said 4,500, others say 5,000. So we'll leave it at that. So now we have this. Now you have to understand. Sutimba means our people came from the south. Now you have that information. You have the name of the regions. Ta Mary is Egypt. Ta Seti is modern day East Africa, and the Sudan, as we understand proper. Ta Niger was south of the Sudan, as we understand I'm talking modern Sudan today, because Sudan means black people, means black man in the Arabic language. Now we'll get into something else to show you other things. Brothers, I want to show you a very beautiful picture. I saw this. I could not get over this. This is, look at these beautiful girls here. These, yeah, you don't see these on your travel documents, huh? You notice that? You won't see this. But these are native Egyptians, and they know themselves to be Kemtiu. This, what I'm telling you, these are the descendants of our ancestors who were there. If you look at their blood types, you will find Mama and Papa, you will find the EM series. So this is our ancient, these are our granddaughters from 5,000 years. They've been there ever since. They have never left. But you don't see this on the travel brochures of modern day Egypt. You don't see this on their talk shows. You don't see people talking about them. But this is actually, these people still live there today. Beautiful little girls. They look, you know, like many of our, and reason why they could be, if we may understand that they could be Fulani, because we know that the Fulani people, you know, as you heard me talk about before, if you look at many of the, like you see up here at the top, the Fulani people have always had characteristics of the braided long hair, because after they had mixed with the invaders and so forth and so on, right? They have murals, as you see at the top. So they always kept their hair in braids. So those who are living in California or New York or in Jamaica or Trinidad or the Bahamas or whatever situation is, you braid the hair, you think you're doing something new. They were doing it 5,000 years ago, and our sisters and brothers are still doing it today. Here's the descendants of these are our cousins here in modern day Egypt today. They're still there. Beautiful little girls, and they are native to Egypt, native Egypt. Okay, so that's something that's very important. I wanted to show you that. And also, here's another part. This is another person, brothers and sisters. You notice this Egyptian girl, you don't see posters. You don't even think there's people like this in Egypt, because you only see the very light-skinned and white people that's there in Egypt. The black folk are in the central to going to the south, as we understand Egypt today. You'll find this. Look at the hairstyles of the sister to the right. Look at the hairstyle of our sisters way back 5,000 years ago. She's native to Egypt, brothers and sisters. See, this again, we're all adults here. We got brothers here. We got maybe some sisters. Sisters, please excuse me, because I'm talking as far as a man goes. This is why when many of the explorers came, many of the people came over Egypt, they found girls like this, very exotic. And many of them had explicit writings about them, from their hair to their private parts to a lot of different things. They were mesmerized by these beautiful black women. And you see the similarities, and we still carrying the hairstyles, brothers and sisters, as they did 5,000 years ago. Okay, I've seen that picture before. They look just like ancient artifacts. Yes, yes, that is, yes, brother, it sure is. You know, it is very, very, very interesting. And, you know, because of my Fulani heritage, I've always looked at the aspects of the murals of the people, because you see as the kingdoms begin to rise, you'll see the Fulani factor a lot, starting around from about the 16th all the way across down to about the 25th dynasties of Egypt. This is very important. And reason why I'm pushing this for you guys to understand this is because you see the little girls here, the mural. If you see my classes before, the mural here, these Egyptians had long hair. Now some say it's wigs. No, because reason why? Because we know when they had the wigs and they used hair, but this is the actual hair of the people. We know them in the time before they became Fulani people. Because the Fulani, the Somal, the Ethiopian were basically the same people. It's just that some of our brothers who became the Fulani, they were known as the Ka people. The Ka people went into modern day Ethiopia, and then of course we know that the Horn of Africa. The others went to the west and became the Fulani people. That's why you can't hardly tell the difference between the Ethiopian and the Fulani. You cannot. It's very difficult. The people from Somalia and the Fulani. You have Fulani who live in the Somalia, and you see pictures of them. You can't tell the difference because we came from the same people. It's just that one went to the east, the other went to the west. And before they became any of these names of Ethiopia or the Fulani, they were known as Sao. They were known as Sao, which we still carry that name today. I told you about many of our beautiful sisters have the name Isato Sao. That is the name that was originally used for the Fulani type people, which is they became the Ethiopians and so forth and so on later on. Then they became the Ka people. And then they became what? The Fulani. They became the Somali and so forth and so on. That's why these little girls here, you put them in northern Nigeria, no one would know that they actually are from Egypt. You put them in Kano or Borno or Kaduna or any places in Nigeria, you would swear to Nigeria and they're Fulani. They're not. They're ancient Egyptians. They're ancient, but they are related, yes. And so forth and so on. Now you get my picture and you see the proof that I'm giving you, brothers and sisters. Now, we also give you, our brothers and sisters still carry the marks of what has happened in the old kingdom and stuff of Egypt. And you see our modern black folk today, they still carry these things. You see down at the bottom, the cuff of hair down here, this is reminiscent of the way the pharaohs were in those days. Our African brothers still had that hairstyle. Look at the beard style there at the top to your left, and to the beard style that's there on the hieroglyphics. Look at this. This is what I'm talking about, brothers and sisters. This is the land of the black man. We call it Kemt, meaning the black land that we own. Okay, Kemtu meaning the black people itself. So now I gave you that for those who just now showed up, or in the future who come late. They'll understand why this land, we know Ta, Mary, Kemt, those two beautiful names like this, but we know that the people are Kemt, Tu. We know that they mean the black people. We know from hieroglyphics. So we have this evidence. Now we have more to this. This was taken here from, I forgot which queen it was, Tu. I think her name, I forgot her name, but again, you see she used the prefix Tu. We know if you add, remember I showed you that if you add the Tu to Kempt, it means a black person. But I'm not sure on the grammar, the grammar for American. I'm still learning it. But anyway, this is her name. They did a recreation of the mummy they found. This is her. This is what they said. They put skin on her. This is how she would look. This is how she would look. She looked today like modern day Fulani girls, Somal girl from Ethiopia, Nigeria, northern Nigeria. She looks, she can even pass for some Hausa girls and even Kanuri. As there's many that have these type of features that she could pass for. So this, again, brothers and sisters, is a good indication, a history for you to understand that those folks were black folk. They are ancestors, and they carry the EM series. If you come from West Africa, you have an ancestral genotype called EM. There's EM1, 2, there's many, EM1A. I mean, there's many. All came out from Egypt. And then we found this in the royal mummies. And then we found this with our West African brothers and sisters in particular. So now you have some good indication of that. And let's look at this one here. Now, brothers and sisters, I want to get back again to the Nile. As you see, our brothers said they came from the Nile, from the beginning of the Nile. You look down here at the bottom here, you see, remember, Egypt is up to the screen, upwards, right? This is the mouth. This is all of this name. Ta Nesher is what they call the Holy Land. is where all of this beginning to lead you to the Nile and leading to Egypt as we know today. See, so when the Europeans, you hear them talk about all the stuff about Europe, you say, whoa, they said they came from the mouth, they came from the beginning of the Nile. Where is the Nile beginning? Way down here in Ta-Nesher. Now you understand the name they call this. So this is what you would tell those who, even Black Tubal, who say that the Egyptians were not black folk. Now you give them in Metanera the name, who they were. It's called the Holy Land. I gave you the 3 names to tell you who they were and so forth and so on. So that way you will know. And as you heard me say before, we're here. Here you go. So this is the names: Egypt, modern day Ethiopia, Somaliland, Eritrea, Djibouti, all those areas that we know today, Sudan, the Cameroons, and so forth and so on, Central America, all Central Africa. This is all the area called Ta-Nesher. We have Ta-Seti and Ta-Nesher. So now you understand, you have an indication, now you have a better understanding of this as far as history goes, and you can better to explain this type of thing. And again, this area, all we call Ta-Nesher, anything south of present-day Sudan is what they call Ta-Nesher, the Holy Land, because this is where all the things, this is where it began. So now you have that indication, brothers and sisters, and I'm hoping that you run with it, and I'm hoping that you're pleased with your history, that you can understand your history. We got more comments here. Okay, we got here our brother. How you doing, my dear brother? Yes, that's Queen Tai. Yes, Tai. Yes, that's her. Yes. Thank you, my dear brother, for showing up today. I really appreciate that. And here he gives a greetings. Thank you very much, my dear brother. Salam. Thank you very much. I think she's called. Yes, Tai. There's 2 names for that. But there's also, if you see this in the hieroglyphics, I will write this to you. If we looked at this name in Metanera, it would be this here. This is how they would actually have her, or they would have her as Ta / Y. Okay, this is also could be the name as we understand it in Metanera, Ta Yi. So this is this. So you guys have that. This is some of the basic grammar stuff that I've learned, and so forth and so on. And how you doing? Thank you, my dear brother, for greeting everybody. And you're correct. Yes, brother. Thank you very much. And now we have that. So again, these Metanera, and also it could be these 2 names that they had for her if we looked in Metanera and whatnot. So you have that, and this is her again, her creation, recreating her to so you can get indication what she looked like. And again, we look at this sister. You look at her good. This sister, if we set her down in Kano, we set her down in Ethiopia, we put her in Djibouti, we put her in Eritrea, we put her even in northern northwest Kenya, the Gambia, anywhere in the Sahel, everybody will be saying she's Fulani. But she also could pass for Hausa. She could also pass for Kanuri in northern Nigeria. You see what I'm talking about. This is how this beautiful queen, she was recreated. We were told by Herodias that the black women in the time of when they start to write the documents about, they were talking about how beauty of the woman, and I gave you some of the exotic look of some of our sisters, and some of our sisters were absolutely stunningly beautiful, and they had something to them that drove many of these invaders crazy. They begin to mix with our black sisters. By the 18th, 19th, 20 dynasties, our sisters begin to look similar to this, and they become lighter because now they are mixed with European and other blood. So you have to understand that. See, this is why we know when you look at the little sisters, and here again we talk what I'm talking about when the explorers they've been finding these sisters here, exotic looking, very sensual looking. And when our brothers drew portraits of our sisters, they were proud of them. They loved them. They said that they were the most beautiful woman that, on earth. They would be the most beautiful women ever, and so forth and so on. So they drew pictures of them. Their bodies were proportionate, and so forth and so on. They were exotic. They looked good. You see? So even the Europeans, when they came, they became mad with these women, meaning madly in love, sexual desire and everything for them. This is how the mixing began to go crazy there. And then this is how the Fulani people became where we have the little girls here. The Fulani mixture and came in like our little girls here. The Fulani people have kept even with mixing, they still have kept their facial features and their structure and coloring even to the modern times. Even after mixing with all these invaders, what do you think they did? They loved the Black Egyptian woman. They loved them, and you can understand why. Okay, you can understand why. You see how central they are. They never seen anybody like these kind of sisters here. So when they came in, these white invaders came in, the Tubab came in. Hey man, I mean, we're men. I don't care if you white or you black. Man is a man. You see a beautiful woman. What does my teacher told me in Ghana? He said it's the nature of man to eat and mate, right? That's what he told me straight out. He gave me the basic lessons about man. I asked him a question. He told me, he said, look, I'm going to tell you the basic nature of man is to eat and mate. That's what he told me back in 2002 when I was in Ghana. And so you can understand now why they felt the way when they start seeing sisters like this. They begin to mate with these sisters, and over generations of time, then we had the Fulani look. Our sisters start to look this way, and that's why you notice you see the murals and the statues, and depictions begin to change by the 15th, 16th to the 22nd. All the way down to the 25th, you start to see murals like this because the girls now were longer hair. This is where the Fulani aspect comes in, as well as you heard me talk about. And these are, again, those coming late, these are native Egyptian girls. You don't see them on the posters. You don't see them on the tourist bureaus. You don't see them in Egyptian stations because they try to hide this from you because they don't want you to know, because they want you to think that Egypt is white. All you got to go down is to the central and to the south. You start finding sisters like this, our little kids like this, our little daughters like this. You start to find them. So I'm hoping, brothers and sisters, that you get this picture here of things. Okay, that's slavery. Here's the other thing. Now, we have not stopped the hairstyles that they had exhibited 5,000 years ago. Okay, you see up here at the top and you see at the bottom, they still carry the hairstyles, brothers and sisters, of their ancient brothers in Kemet. See, and again, when the Tubab claims that it's them, because yes, the Greeks came there as invaders. They were not native to the land. They did not have kinky hair. They could not do their hair this way. And even though they mixed with the Black Kemetic people, they didn't whitewash them out, meaning, they didn't, but the whites blended in because we know the predominant gene is black. So even though they began to mix, the Fulani factor came in, the people had different features. They began to have longer hair and longer beards. That's why you notice the murals from the 15th to about the 25th century, 25th dynasties, it was different. You see now, all of a sudden you start seeing men with real long beards. You start seeing women with beautiful braided hair. You see the kings with long, silky, wavy type hair as well. Now you can understand where that came from. And you can see that. So I'm hoping, brothers and sisters, that this is a good education for you and for you to understand. Because I've been looking at many programs of late, and Egyptian, and especially our brothers who are trying to present the picture. I salute them for their fortitude and everything. But they're missing a boat in many regard, brothers and sisters, because when you think and you say, well, okay, I hear about this pharaoh, there was 45,000 pharaohs. 4,000, between 4,000 and 5,000 in the history. So what period was this, and this is the confusion. And then when you hear them say, I know they were black, you're waiting there with your hands on you, say, hey, what do you mean? Okay, show me. Yeah, you show me a mural, but I want more proof. Now I gave you the proof about what they call themselves. See, now you can understand. Instead of you hearing somebody tell you the person who's doing a program, he said, yeah, they were black folk because this is this and that. Now I gave you some grammar to tell you exactly who they were and what they call themselves. Okay, so now you have that. And here we go. Where we go? Is this them? Yes. No, excuse me. Yeah, here we go. So now those came late. So you guys can understand this. You say, well, I've been looking at programs. I've been hearing about they were black, but I'm still not convinced of it. I don't know this and that. Now I give it to you. Kemet at the top in your left-hand corner here. Kemet actually means the black lands, not meaning the soil is actually black. That's not true. But if you've been to Egypt, you have the Delta region where you have a lot of water and stuff like that. The land is not naturally, but the soil's dark. You find it all across North Africa. Even here, where I live, we have soils very dark. I never seen soil like this in America. Never seen soil like this. We have very dark soil, especially when it gets wet, and it's very clay, not clay-like, but I can't explain to you. And it's very rich. You put things and it grows, corn in it. It grows like crazy. See, and whatnot. But anyway, Kemet is meaning that land. Now we start getting to the part. Kemet actually in grammar is a person. I tried to explain to you before, like maybe you will say Kemet John, or Kemet Yahya, meaning Yahya was black. He's a black man. If somebody was describing something. Now we start talking about the people, Kemet. Over to your left at the bottom here, this is actually in Neher, and then the modern Neher, this meaning the black people, as I tried to explain to you. So now you have this type of grammar. You can explain that. When you hear some of our brothers from Egypt going crazy about, they're white and stop, you African Americans stop talking that they were black, you explain to them, well, look, why is it in the Neher, in the hieroglyphics, they had these names here? What does it actually mean? Let them try to explain that to you. They'll talk about Kemet. They say, no, if you live here in Egypt, you'll know in the Delta region, the land is black. But then you say, well, how about Kemet? You explain that to me. That means a black person. So what is that? See, so and even today in West African languages, we have forms of Kemet meaning charcoal, black, burnt, scalded, and so forth and so on. In many of the dialects, West African dialects that are spoken today, we still carry this word. So now I gave you that. So brothers and sisters, so you can see this. And like I said, again, this is something, a good education for you can have, because Africa is ours, as you heard me say many times. And every part of Africa is ours. It didn't belong to the European or the Asians. And yes, they came invaded, but they were not indigenous to our land. They weren't indigenous. And if you notice something, every time they went to a region, they began to describe people. When we came to the corridor, the Sahel corridor, Western region, what was the name given? When the Arabs come, the Afro Arabs, who some were light skinned, some were whiter skinned, they begin to call the West Africans, they call them what? Takruri. Okay, they start talking Takruri. But if you looked at it in the Arabic language, Takruni, basically in Arabic, meaning the people in the corridor in West Africa region, meaning black people. Okay. Then we talk about the general population of West Africa. We had the word Sudan. Okay, Sudan, meaning black people. We always had something to describe us. You notice that? Always something. Egypt was no different. Kemet had its name to describe the people, describe them people. Kemet, meaning black people. Now you have that. Now you have that, brothers and sisters. Now you have this evidence. So when you see the talk shows, and so forth. And you, even our black brothers and sisters that are doing a good job, but a lot of, I've been seeing for weeks, are kind of negligent of not giving you the nuts and bolts of the matter. See, because they're not explaining to you this. They're not telling you, well, okay, I hear you say this and that, but I need more. Now you have this Ta Mary, Ta Seti, Ta Niger. As you saw the map I gave, this again gives you the indication, Menneter, Egypt at the top. Here, modern day Ethiopian Sudan, the Cameroon, South Sudan, the Cameroons, the Congo, and places like this. This is what they call Ta Niger, meaning the Holy Land. Ta means Holy Land, sacred, Holy Land in Menneter. So now you have that. This is the language they used when they went down further south on expeditions and trading and so forth and exploration. They began to name regions. Ta Seti is actually the bowl. Ta Niger means holy land, because the richness of, they found spices, they found a lot of freshwater fish, they found fruits, vegetables, a lot of game. So they began to, and this again feeds the Nile. If you travel the Nile going southward, it would lead you to the regions that we were talking about. It'll lead you to what they call Ta Niger. You follow from the top of the screen here, and you follow this map, it'll take you to all of these regions. See? So this is what I'm talking about. And this is what our ancient brothers said, that's where they came from. So now you have the impetus, brothers and sisters, to describe yourself, your ancestors, about why they were black. Now you have that understanding, and I'm hoping that you run with that now. We got some more questions here. Okay, here. Oh, how you doing, my dear brother? Thank you for showing up today. Please subscribe to our brother's station here. I appreciate that. And we should always support one another. You know, it doesn't take nothing. It doesn't take to pull your arm. You just put subscribe. And even if you disagree with us sometimes, but we're black folk, we should support one another. And we all have different platforms. And again, I'm never asking you to subscribe to something vain and something vile. None of us are that way. We all present a different platform. You should support that, brother, sister. So please support our brother here in his endeavor. He's in the Gambia, I think about 4, almost 5 years now. There coming out of the United States. So support our brother. He's got a different platform, and he's a good businessman. So you're looking at trading or something, you want to make some, you're looking at some interest about trading, you need some advice. This is the brother you go to. You don't go to people like me, because I don't know anything about establishing business. But our brother here, Saeed, here, the Islamic Talk Show, you get a hold of him, and he can turn you on to a lot of things about the ins and out of Gambia, so you can see that. Thank you very much, my dear brother. Thank you. This is what we should do as black people, as Africans. We should support one another. We should support one another. You don't come with the adage, like, remember I told you about this study? I'm just a little bit off the topic, but please bear with me on this. They gave this one black man, okay, he was African. They gave him some stations, they gave him some platforms and so forth and so on. When he came to other Africans, he tried to find something. Oh, I don't like the grammar. I don't like the way he looked. I don't like that. So he went on ahead to subscribe to a white station, to a Tubab program. The Tubab he was a racist. We have some block. He tried to find something wrong with the black station. See, I don't want to subscribe to them. But the Tubab one, he went to describe, where this man hated us. This is what I'm talking about. So now you have to get this out of your head. Thank you, my dear brother, for subscribing to our dear brother's show. I appreciate that. And he gives his thanks. Thank you, my dear brother. Thank you for showing up today. So please support our brother and his endeavor. Thank you very much. Now, we got something here. I want to also give this. I'm going now. You see down. This is the things they found buried and so forth and so on. These are black folk. These are black people. Okay. Bottom line. If you look at the mural here, the vase that's in the center here, this is actually hair. This is why, again, brothers and sisters, why we figured that these are the now running from about the 15th dynasty to about the 25th. We found the native Egyptians start to be more, they had more hair and so forth because of the mixture. See, so now you can understand where this came about. And we talked about this Holy Land and so forth and so on. Again, we I'm recapping this. We talked about this Holy Land, why the ancient Egyptian, our ancient brothers told this, because they came from this originally. They came from this region. If you read the hieroglyphics, they said this is the region we came from where the beginning of the Nile. The Nile beginning because there's many rivers running through it. And I explained that to you. Now you can understand. It came from the south. It didn't come from Europe. It didn't come from Scandinavia. It didn't come from China. It didn't come from South America. Our ancestors came from the south, And they had a name for the southern region because after exploration, they call it the Holy Land, Ta-Nejer. This is what they call that. Beautiful name. Our African languages are beautiful, period. Nothing for you to be ashamed of. This is why I've been screaming at the African Americans, in particular, and our brothers in the Caribbean. Brother, go get an African language and learn it, okay? I'm telling you now, it will benefit you greatly because this is a natural language for you. I don't care if it's Swahili. I don't care if you take it from our Zulu brothers, because Zulu is beautiful too, it's melodic. I don't care if you take Arabic. You take some language and learn it. Because we have beautiful languages. Why are you going to spend your money and time like I see African Americans do? They go spend money to learn Russian. They spend all this money to learn French and German, but they won't learn African dialect. I don't understand that, but that's another day for another discussion. We got some more comments here. Yes, thank you, my dear brother, for that. And how you doing? Okay, Black Lives. Okay, my dear brother, please give your greetings to everybody when you come in the chat. I don't know, I Black. Whoa, wait a minute. Okay. I've been away from the United States for 2 decades now. Oh, wait a minute. I think I know what you're talking about now. I think this is, okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. He's out. I'm a Muslim. We don't support homosexuality. They know that this is a tuba who did that, to provocateur. They do this to, when they can't do that, they'll send pornography. I just sent a long letter again to all evidence, again, to YouTube. These tuba bastards, exactly what they are too much. They try to play these little games like this. There's no need for that. But we know how dirty they are. So anyway, let's get back here to the program here. And again, brothers and sisters, the recap, when we look, again, proof, you look at, this is the names of the Pharaoh. The Pharaoh carried 5 names. And you hear me for weeks talking about Ka and Ba and so forth. In this instance, as far as grammar goes, Sutem Ba here meaning the South. And Ba in this instance talks about a people and a region. You understand? So when the name of the Pharaoh, we know where he came from in the South, because he would give, his name would indicate where he came from in the South. This is very interesting how ingenious it was. But our brothers, they were nationalistic, and they wanted to let you know that I came from certain regions, okay, certain region of the South, Sutem Ba. So they would ask the Pharaoh, what is your Sutem Ba name? Oh, I came from Seti. I came from Ta-Nejer. I came from, see, this is what they would do. And their names were based upon the area where they came from. Now you understand that. See, again, Ba. Now something I didn't talk about, the son of Ra. In the Bible, this is why there's a lot of talk about the Bible. You heard me talk about this class, and I won't get deep into that. In the Bible, it talks about the Son of God. Here, the Metaneher, they talk about the Pharaoh. He has his last name, the Son of Ra. In the Bible, it's called the Son of God, right? Now, the Son of Ra, meaning, again, not that you are the what you call it, the Trinity, no, but that you worship and you adore and you follow that of Ra, meaning who? That is behind the sun. You understand? Not the worship of the sun, but what's behind it. So now you have an indication. Sutin Ba is your indicator for the south. This is the pharaoh's the fourth name. Is the Sutin Ba name is where he originated from in the south. All of this gives you indication, brothers and sisters, that the people were black people, and that should to sew it up for you, so you will have that indication. Here's another depictions here of how the brothers look from different regions, and you see why this is important. Because, brothers and sisters, that EM series that we all carry, this is why, yes, it might have been 5,000 years ago, but we have brothers today that look like some of our brothers 5,000 years ago. Look at the brother in your left, to the top, left hand right. I mean, to the left side, the top. Look at his face and look at the pharaoh's face. See, because we carry the same genotypes. Look at our brother here, down here, and look over here at the mirror to his left, in the center, to your left here. Look, see, this is what I'm talking about. Look at this brother here. He maybe look to be like Rasta, but he may not be. He could be, because he could be from the south, in South Egypt. We know present today, because we have many brothers that taken, you know, different hairstyles. But look at his marrow to the left. You have a brother that's similar to him. Now we go to our right. We see the young man here. Look at that young pharaoh or Fari in the Medneher. Look, he has the resemblance. Look at our brother here. The brother here looks more like the people that live in the highlands of Ethiopia today, and so forth and so on. Look at him versus the sculpture. We have that. Look at the brother here and his head style, his hair, and so forth. This is very similar to him. So, brothers and sisters, you see all these similarities. Why? Because we carry the same genotype. If your mother is Igbo, your father's Yoruba, or any of these West Africans, you will have this EM series. I don't care if you're Mandinka or Mende, or you Jolof or Wolof, you're going to have a Capelli. I mean, many, Tiv, you go all the way down the line. There's so many. You will have this EM. If you're Siri, or you are Sineke, or any of these, you're going to have Bambara. You have all of this, you're going to have an EM series. This is why we have similarities in looks. Even 4,000, 5,000 years later, we still have similar looks, see? And if we took our little daughters here that I showed you earlier here, where are you at now? Where our little girls are at here? Our little daughters, where are you at? Where are you guys at? Yeah, here we go. You take them, you look at some of the murals of children that's 5,000 years ago, you'll look at these girls, they look just like that. Look at the hairstyle, the braids. You find that in the murals. Look at the mural at the top. You see the similar hairstyle that our little sisters who are still in Egypt today. This is fascinating, brothers and sisters. Give you to indicate this is our land. Okay? This is our land, brothers and sisters. You West Africans, you African Americans, you Caribbean Americans, Jamaica, Trinidad, Bahamas, Guadeloupe, you all of this, you guys descended from West Africans, you descended out from Egypt. There's no ifs, ands, but about it. Okay, now you have this all again, proof of this matter. And we got the question here. We got something here. We got can get what I don't know what this brother's talking about here. Yeah, okay. Okay, brother, please, give your greetings to everybody here. I wish you saw my marquee at the start to tell you the Anu people are not the Scorpion King. The Anu people, the Scorpion King, I know what you're talking about. That's a part of history of the first. It was a king before the dynasties began in ancient Egypt. The Anu people were the original people that, and there's also another name that we have for them that you find also. They were the originals that came from the south, and they went into modern day Egypt as we understand today, and stayed there. And the Scorpion King was the king who was the king before the dynastic period, so forth and so on. That they coined that term and so forth and so on. But please give your greetings to your brothers next time around, dear brother, please. And I don't know what you mean by get that caveman out of here. Please, you can elaborate. I don't understand what you mean by that. Okay, it seems that our birthright will be returned and the divine source is put in place. Yes, thank you, my dear brother. Thank you for the greetings. Yes, we're starting to recapture our lost glory. It's starting to happen slowly but surely. We start to, get this to come in now, and we're starting to recapture this history. And now we have scholars, African scholars on the ground, educating us, and so forth and so on, giving us this vital information and history to uplift you, because we have been torn down for 400 years, okay, or more. And so now you have something to give you uplifting, because the greatest accomplishments are always taken from us, and they always become tubab, and so forth and so on. I told you today, I pulled something up in Google today. I was shocked. They showed the ancient Egyptians as a tubab, and then they even showed Nubians as tubab. But they were a little bit darker, but they were tubab. They looked like Italians, but they named this. This is what I'm talking about. See, that they took that from us. Even they say Nubia. I mean, incredible, right? And there's a term, another term, because the ancient Egyptians, they were a little bit lighter complexion. You look at the mural, especially after they start mixing. They had another name, Tahashi, meaning very black. This is what they call their Nubian brothers, okay? Because they didn't mix. They weren't mixing. The ancient Egyptians began to mix with invaders, right? So the brothers to the south of them, Ta-Seti, they had to describe them, describe their look. You know, it's like a light-skinned brother and a dark-skinned brother. They described them as Tahashi, meaning the blackness of the skin, okay? Not meaning they were white, meaning they were very, very black. And you look at the murals. You look at the murals, you see the Nubian, very, very, jet black. The Egyptians were jet black too, but not as black as those from Nubia, because they begin to mix. Talking about in Egypt, that's why we had this part, and the two. Okay, brother. Yes. Okay. Me, Caveman. Okay. Tubab, as you know, I don't know what your group is. Tubab. We know this in the Fufudi language, and Mende and Mendinka, as just a person who is a Caucasian, okay? So I hope you don't mean nothing derogatory, because Tubab doesn't carry on a derogatory term. But we know, and I'll give you this again, as maybe those who never followed me at the time, we have another term that was more derogatory, and they called them Bakra. Bakra was a derogatory term for white men, and they carried that all the way to Jamaica and in slavery time, that they began to call rogue white men and so forth. But it had a connotation. We know in West Africa, this is a negative term of the slavers who they ran into, and they began to call them bakra, and they had to do with chicken. Okay, and I explained that to you. I don't want to get into that today because it's derogatory. But tubab is not derogatory, because it actually talks about a race of people. Okay, that's an insult when we use against, yes. Bakra is not tubab. Tubab is not derogatory. Tubab is actually the wording of describing a white person. And he could be a Black American too, because it's an orientation. Now, Bakra is a derogatory term to insult Europeans. Yes, it is. No doubt about that. They are helping Sudan. Yes, yes, we have problems there. The Sudan problem, as you heard me say before, what is the nuts and bolts of Sudan's problem? Who is Arab? I hate to say that, brothers and sisters, but you heard my class on that. The central to that is who is real Arab and Sudani. And it's really shameful, and nobody talks about the genocide and the people being killed over there. I was there in Sudan. I'm telling you right now, it's not right. How you doing, my dear brother? Walaikum salam, rahmatullahi barakatuh. Thank you, my dear brother, for showing up today. Thank you very much. The Nubians referred to as Taheshi. Yes, I just said that if you just came. Taheshi is a term actually talking about the blackness of the skin. Meaning, again, it's no different. We got like our brother here, me and Larry. Larry makes, I may look at Larry and say, man, yeah, hey, man, this brother, he's from Texas somewhere. I know the Texas brothers, they a little bit darker. So I call him Taheshi. That's not meaning I'm white, but I mean he's a black man, but he's a different black man than I am. So that's Taheshi. Okay, so don't get it confused, meaning the one is white, Tubab, and the other one is black. No, Taheshi is a term designated, just like my brother here. Me and my brother was talking and stuff like this. Maybe somebody's talking out and you say, hey, who is this guy Larry? Who you telling me? You this brother that you always know and you talk to him. Oh yeah, I was going to speak Arabic, excuse me. Sometimes I go back and excuse me. I was to describe Larry and say, Larry is, he's Taheshi. He's much darker than me. That's how we would describe that. So it's not derogatory, meaning that he's black and I'm white. No. And any chance you could corroborate the work with Robin? Well, I don't. Robin Walker Hurts. Which, yeah, I know about. Do you do? No, I don't. No, I don't. Robin Walker. I heard of that name, but I can't remember who that person is. I saw one. Somebody sent me one of their videos. Yeah, I never. No, I have not. No, I have never collaborated with this person. I don't even. I don't even know if I even subscribe. But I know of this name. But I have not subscribed to this person. No, I have not. So I have not had any dealings with that person at all. So anyway, brothers and sisters, now you guys got the crux of this. Now you have the basis of this to understand why I said the Kemet is importance to the black man, because it gives you the indication that this was your people. It shows you that black people can accomplish just about anything they want. And we have a history of showing that. Okay. We show that when you start talking about the inner space, we're champions of that. We were given this information without any modern technology. Subhanahu wa ta'ala sent angels. Angels in turn gave it to the prophet who was there, or prophets there in ancient Kemet at that time, and gave the indication, gave them the star systems, gave them a lot of information. That information was carried all the way to Timbuktu at the university from the 14th to the 1600s, where the astrology station, which I wish I want to go there. I heard that many of the scholars that were teaching there were Fulani, and I heard they have some stuff that's off the charts about the stuff that's going on in the interstellar space. And of course, they stopped that. But as you heard me say, if this was books written by the Europeans, it'd be all out because it'd be glorified them. But since it's by black folk, we can't travel there. We have no access to it. They're not putting the stuff on the market either, so we can see it. Some of the books, some people are taking pictures and then kind of showing us some of the, the evidence. So it's really a shame. We got another question here. Okay, Slam. Why don't black people start buying land and property in North Africa? There are no barriers as far as I'm aware. We should try. Yeah, I would suggest Egypt. Egypt is not a place. To be honest, I will say this to you: if you're going to go to school in Egypt, yes, go to school there. Go to Al-Azhar. Go there and study and so forth from there. If you're talking about investment and living pretty well and so forth, and basically in peace, I would tell you now, because I live here. I've been living in Morocco for almost 2 decades now. This is the best place for you to buy property and land, and we have a variety of microclimates and areas. What you want? You want to live near the coast, you can. If you want to live in the Sahara, you can live there. If you want to live in the mountain ranges, and we got meadow regions. We have everything that you can imagine. You want to grow dates. We have places where you can, you can buy either a farm there, or you can go to buy land and start growing your dates and other things. You can go to the central part and you can grow just about everything that you eat in the West, especially like in California and, in that area like that. You have pomegranates, what we call roman. You have figs, pears, cherries, apples. We grow all of that here in our Maghreb. So I would suggest that you look at Al Maghrib for your investment for land. This is a beautiful country, and they got beautiful climate, especially Marrakesh. Marrakesh, you can grow many things there, and you can get land. It's like everywhere else is starting to climb up, but I would suggest that tremendously over Egypt. Egypt is not too hospitable to Americans, period. You hear about even Egyptian Americans going back and having problems, especially the men. See, and we know African Americans have went there to live and have problems. It's not racism, but the government, because they're under the thumbs of the American, they have a tendency to be heavy-handed towards Americans there. You don't have that case basically in Morocco. Yes, we have Tuba coming out of the embassy. They play little games here and there, but it's nothing on the scale that's going on in Egypt. So I would suggest that you take your investment here to Al Maghrib. Afro-American community. I don't know where you're talking about. In Egypt, I don't know if they have that. They had an African-American community in the early 70s, but my understanding under Nasser, but that was broken up. But I heard that there's still African-Americans still living there in small areas who now they're very old. I heard that, and I think I saw that on YouTube too. In Egypt, matter of fact. I wish we can get a hold of them and get their synopsis of that. Very interesting. It's definitely on my wish. Yes, the houses of what I've seen. Look, yes, we have, you go just many places in Al Maghrib and you have beautiful settings. We have houses and we have this unique architecture and I mean, beautiful. You look on the outside, you see something, you don't know what's in the inside. You come into the inside, you see open like patio area, waterfalls in it. And you'll find all of these type of things in the agriculture. If you have money, you can buy a lot of different things that you want. I'm telling you now, and you can live very well and so forth, because this is a very, very, very peaceful country. One of the most peaceful countries you can find in Africa is Morocco. Okay, low crime and so forth and so on. Racism is very, very little. Okay, if anything, those who are inspired because the Tubab got to them and put something in their mind and make them think wrong. But that's very small stuff and so forth. But but you're not gonna walk down the street, somebody gonna come after you. Only those who work with the Americans, there may be like that because they train them to teach them to say things like, I had an incident like this where they taught this boy, he couldn't even say it right. Okay, but I know it's them that taught him because he's never been to America. And that's a word that's vile and filthy. The Tuba taught him that to say that. And I knew what he meant when he said it to me, but he didn't say it good because the accent was not right. But this far in between because he's associated with the Tuba. Tanzania, yes, you can. In the Gambia, yes, I was, yes, you can take that. You're right. Because one of the disadvantages, brothers and sisters, of living in North Africa is the language. And I'm glad our brother just mentioned this little thing here about that. When you go to Black Africa in itself, south of the Sahara, the English is prevalent everywhere. Morocco is starting to come up to speed on English now. They're starting to teach that. And matter of fact, they even can the French language, but you still have French being spoken. And you have a lot of people, especially younger generation, they speak English. So now you can just about go anywhere and you'll find people to speak English. But you still need to speak Arabic here because it's a Muslim country and Arabic is the official language. So you have disadvantages. If you can speak Arabic or you want to learn Arabic, Morocco is a good place. They got a lot of Black people, whatever you want. And now you heard me say this many times. Now I mean this. You come here to Morocco, there's no problem, you brother. If you come here, I don't care if you come from Texas. I don't care if you come from Washington, D.C. or whatever. You can find a wife here far more easier here than you can back in the States. I hate to say that, but it's the truth. It is the truth. You'll find a wife and every complexion that you want. If you want something that's cold black, you find a sister like that. You want something that's in between, we have sisters like that. You want some girl that's kind of hazel eyes, she has dark brown skin, you find that. You want somebody very tall and have this oculine features, we have that. Everything you want here in Al Maghrib. And I don't know if our brother is still here. You know, one day we had on this show, the site show, and brother was talking about Morocco. I'm getting long and I'm getting close here, but I'm just giving you some things here that happened. There's a brother that came over from LA. I think it was from LA or San Diego. He came over and he was determined because he did not read much about Morocco, but he came. And so he's found that he found a beautiful place. He bought a condo and everything. And so anyway, he started going to the masjid. He was a Muslim, American Muslim. He started going to the masjid. So the brothers start seeing him. They figured he was new. So they started to talk to him and so forth and so on. But he was convinced. He said, no, man, look, I'm not here for no marriage. I'm just going to do my thing and learn and everything else like this. One day, this brother walked up to him and he went to talk to him and said, look, I got a cousin. You got to see her, brother, please, because we want you, because it's better for you as a Muslim man to be married, because here they push marriage because that is a sunnah, the Prophet Islam is a directive that is you should, because why? When you marry, to keep you away from all temptation. You see what's happened in America because of the marriage situation is so bad. Men are fornicating and they're having many problems with paternity and so forth and so on, right? So we try to eliminate that fact by bringing a young man, especially because you still have strong desires, and so we try to give you a wife. But he was adamant. He said, no. So he said, look, man, please, bear me out. So when the brother came out, I forgot what his Asr or whatever, after the late afternoon prayer, he came out, the brother's waiting for him. And he said, hey, man, please, he shook his hand, talked to him. And he said, look, man, please, you're going to, when he saw his cousin, I'll never forget, when he saw her, his eyes lit up like a machine. That's what I'm talking about. You'll find that here. You'll find it anywhere in Africa. You find in the Gambia too. But here in Morocco, we have some beautiful, beautiful girls of all spectrum and color. You search Egypt 1920 YouTube. Yes, you're right. You see that. This is yes, you'll find that. It's funny, isn't it? It's very funny. You'll find that. You're right. See, it's very, very interesting. Thank you, my brother, for this information, this tidbit. You're right. You see, and it's true. You start seeing old pictures. You see brown, dark brown, and very, very black skinned folk out of Egypt. Very, very true. Yes, Zanzibar. Yes, I heard it's very beautiful. I doubt if I ever get a chance to go there. And my friend is found a way. Oh yes. That's over the southeast. Yes, and that's where the area of the dates. Yes, the brothers are going to the south to find wives in Morocco. Very easy. I mean, it's very easy for an African American, in particular, to find a wife here in Morocco. Very, very more easier than it is in the United States. More easier because here you'll find the girl and they're more bred, waiting for a marriage. They're already schooled on how to be a wife. They're already schooled on homemaking and taking care of family. That art is gone in the United States. We know that. I lived there. We know what the story is. We have to get into that. Here, you're looking for, ready-made, a wife. You don't have to sit here and tell her, and she's not gonna come and tell you, look, man, you want to cook? You want me to cook something? You get to McDonald's. That's off. That stuff don't exist here on my group. I'm telling you now, because they teach the girls here at a very young age in Africa, period. Now, we know in some of the big cities, the girls modern, they went to America and they've lost their art. That's very few. Here in my group, every girl here learns how to cook. So you already have a ready-made wife. You marry her, you don't have to sit here and tell her, oh, you need to do this. You need to do that. You don't have to do that. Your meal's gonna be fixed. Your clothes are gonna be, and your house is gonna be clean. She's gonna take care of you in the bed. All this stuff is handmade. You don't have to sit there and worry about somebody challenging your authority as a man like you do in the United States. You don't have that here, okay? Bottom line. And if that situation rears up here, you go to the police. Because we still live under the Sharia. I mean, we have some parts under the Sharia. But if you have a wife that's unruly, talking crazy, acting up, leaving the house without permission, you go to the police. Because that is the Sharia Islam. Why we do that? To protect her. We know women to have a tendency to be emotional. So we try to protect them. But we know sometimes things happen, arguments happen. She is not to leave your house without the permission. This is Islamic law, and that's the way it's for her protection, because we overall responsible for Yom Kippur. The Subhanahu wa Ta'ala is going to ask us. He's going to look inside of our house. He's going to say, did you provide? Because it's a man's job to provide. It's not for a woman. Like in the United States, our brother's sitting there scratching on his private parts while his wife goes out and work. He don't do nothing but eat, sleep, and fornicate. No, no, no. In Islam, the man is responsible for taking care of his family as his responsibility. It's not her. You know, he's supposed to provide for everybody's welfare. Okay, that's the way that is. She in turn takes care of the family and whatnot, and that's the bottom line. That's how it goes. Yes, yes. Anywhere they live in Japan, yes, and build home. I mean, you know, this all these type of factors, brothers and sisters. That's why the brothers come over here and they find wives in Africa, in the East, North Africa, South Africa, especially West Africa in particular. Brothers are finding wives very, as our brother Saeed here, the Islamic Thoughts Show, his wife, Gambian. I mean, you know, I'm telling you, man, it's a natural order for you. When you come here, you will see what I'm talking about. You'll find it very refreshing when you come here to Africa and you'll find a woman, you see a mild-mannered sister. You don't find screaming, hollering, booty dancing stuff. You don't find that here. You just don't. And if you did see that kind of stuff, they get put in check right away, because a woman has a behavior she's supposed to act. If she gets out of hand, the brothers on the street will say, hey, look, sister, you know, you don't do that kind of stuff here. And, you know, they'll calm them down. And even the policemen, we get after them, they come out there screaming and yelling, talking crazy. We don't have that. Africa, generally, is not this way. That's why the brothers come to Africa and they fall in love with the African women immediately. I don't care if you come to the Gambia. I don't care if you go to Ghana. I don't care if you go to Nigeria. You come to Morocco, you find that. Go to Senegal. It's a good place for African Americans. They're starting to go there now too. Brothers are finding wives easy. And you hear the same theme. They can't believe, because they have been geared in the United States. So they already defensive with their hands up, because they know what's happening in the United States. Regardless of color, if she's white woman or she's a black woman or Mexican, the woman over there is modern. You know what's happening over there. I don't have to say. They come, they have a little chip on their shoulder of fear. All of a sudden you hear a beautiful, mild-mannered sister come talk to you. And then you know all that trash that you had to deal with in the United States. Now you found a real woman, a woman who's feminine. See, and this is why the brothers fall in love with the sisters when they come here. They come here, they hear some 3 weeks, 4 weeks, they already married. Some been here a couple of months, they get married. It's rare to find a brother that's been here 2-3 years without a wife. I haven't heard of that. If he did, you better check him. Something's wrong with him. I mean, because I don't know how he's avoiding that. And we even have African Americans now have married 2 girls. See, in Islam, and you can also polygamy in other religions as well. So we have that here. Yeah, I'm going to Senegal. Yes, that's a good place to go, my dear brother. You should go there. You should go there and check that out. So I'll recap this and then we'll close here, brothers. Again, like I say, now you got the proof I gave you, my dear brothers and sisters here. We got the lands here and explaining the map of the Holy Land and where the beginning of the Nile. So you have this information now. You got the proof to give you all this indication about how the Black people evolved, where they actually originally came from. The ancient Egyptians, when they begin to go to, they traveled their canoes all the way up to ancient Egypt, as we know, into Taseti. That we know that they call this region here Ta-Nejer, and this is the Holy Land, and this is where the beginning, how the Nubians, the ancient Egyptians, and so forth came about. And this is that evidence, and we have the evidence here of the waterways leading to the Nile as we understand it today. Very, very, very interesting. I gave you proof about how the EM series, why we still carry the genes of our ancient ancestors, because we all carry the EM genotype in our blood system. And this is proof of that. Right here, we still have brothers that look like our ancient African brothers in Kemet. I mean, it's astonishing. Okay, we still have brothers look the same because we carry the ancient EM genotype blood in our veins. I gave you the caption of Queen Tai, or there's many names you want to call her. We have different ways we call her. This is a recreation. They put skin on her. This is how she most likely looked. You can see she passes for African American. We put her in African American. We put her among the African Americans. No one would ever suspect anything. She looked like many sisters in New York, California, Dallas, Washington, D.C., Mobile, Alabama. There's a lot of sisters who look just like this girl. So we have this gene, and that's just something that's proof that, you know, that we're ancient peoples. We have the brothers here. Now we got in southern. This is what I'm talking about. You don't see the murals of the ancient Egyptians in the south. We call the Said region. This is the Said region in the south part of Egypt today. These are black people who have always been black. There in Messer, these of the natives, again, of ancient Egypt. This is here in the south. These are black folk that live in the delta regions and so forth and so on of Egypt. So you have that picture show you our folks are still there prevalent. And then we have our little sisters here, like I said before, beautiful little girls here are they're, you know, still living in Egypt today. Again, you don't see pictures like this. It shows they try to get you away from that, but they still live in Egypt today. I show you the mural about how things have changed from the 15th dynasty to about the 25th dynasty. We start finding murals like this where we have now our sisters and brothers had longer hair and they braided their hair. We still braid our hair today, don't we? We still braid. We still have this hairstyle. How many of our little sisters in the United States, Jamaica, or in the Caribbean, Europe, with black people, we have our sisters who braid our little girls' hair like this. That is old, brothers and sisters, 5,000 or more years, they've started that. This is something unique to us. That's another indication that the ancient Egyptians were black folk. Okay, that's, I mean, bottom line, they were black people. And that's almost, yeah, I got you there. Now this, I wanted to show you this part here. This ancient Egyptian, this historian, European historian, Tubab historian, he actually traveled and he mapped out the origins of the Nile and so forth and so on. So and you have to give him credit and whatnot. And he also had the hieroglyphics and writings to explain a lot of interesting. Remember, Ta-Seti is what we call Nubia and so forth and so on. And that's what they that's what the name they call them. So that's a good indicator for that. And then we have I just gave you that the three names: Egypt, Timeri, Ta-Seti is Sudan, and what they call Nubia, but the Sudan, the Ethiopia region, and Ta-Nejer is the area of where you're talking about the south of Sudan, as we understand today. We're talking about Central Africa, all with the Cameroons and so forth and so on. And I gave you pictures showing what that is, but this is the name that they actually call that. So now you have that. And again, you have the names of the king. The king had 5 names. Again, the 4th name here tells you this is the southern name. So you had to have that. They'll ask you, you are the king. The king is known as Fari. Remember, Fari became Pharaoh. This is the name. The Mehnera is called Fari, but Fari became the Pharaoh because they changed it over to Pharaoh. And Sultan Ba is again the region for to the south, because your southern name. Ba in this instance in the grammar means a people or a region of people, of a group of people in a certain area. So they call Ba. So southern Ba means the southern region, southern area of something where you're from. So where did you come from? Did you come from Ta-Nejer, or did you come from Ta-Seti? Where'd you come from? You see, now I gave you that. And reason why I'm pushing that, because there's a lot of shows there, and I've been watching a lot of shows, and some of it's confusing for me because I'm waiting for them to give me something so I can understand more about this. Yes, they show a picture of a black person, or they may hear and say something, but you don't know. Well, how can I prove? Now I gave you proof today why these people, why they are black, and I gave you the linguistics to that. And this is it here. The Kemet is actually the land itself, talking about the people, the ownership of the land, the black people who own it, the land of black people. Then Kemet means a person, one person, like Yahya, Kemet Yahya. Yahya is a black person. He's a black man, okay? And then Kemet is black people in general, okay? Black people. So you have that. This is written in Metaner. You find this in their writings to prove that these people were black people. This is what they describe themselves as, Kemet, meaning as a whole. So now you have all of this proof, brothers and sisters, and I'm hoping that you run with that. We got a couple more we got here. I heard Morocco was getting rid of more than getting rid. No, there's a lot of talk about that, but that's another subject, my dear brother. No, that's because if a man's got two wives, they can't go tell a man. That's Islamic. You can't go tell a man he can't have a second wife unless there's something wrong, but she can ask for divorce if he's not taken care. But just the government just come in and step in and say, hey, Yahya, you got two wives, you have to give them up. They're not doing that. That's not going to happen. But if your second wife or your first wife went to the court and said, look, Yahya's not taking care, that's what they're talking about. Yes, she has the right not to file for the divorce because I'm not taking care of her. She's my second wife or she's my first wife. That's what they're talking about. To give the woman more leeway, those who have second or third wives, so forth, so on. But is the government stepping in and putting a decree telling you you cannot? No, that's not the case. How would a Muslim brother with locks be treated in North Africa? There's a lot of talks about, I would not, to be honest with you, brother, North Africa is not the same as West Africa. In West Africa, you would have little problem. But in the Islamic circles, braiding the hair, there's a lot of scholars who are talking about that. Now, you got to remember something during the day of the Prophet, we had black people that had very knotted hair. Okay, knotty braids is what what the Jamaicans call their what do you call them? I forgot, but knotty braids of the hair, and so there's scholars talking about this. I would not suggest a hairstyle like that here, like in Morocco. It would not fare very well. It would not fare very well. The people look at you because when you go to a land, you should try to adapt as best you can to that land. So you don't come with something that is so foreign that it's going to cause friction with other people, and not only that, also cause you problems. So you should be very careful that if you do that, I would stay away from that. Now, let me say this part. If you go to the southern regions of Morocco or Algeria, maybe Tunis, I know Libya, you can probably get away with that. In southern part of Egypt, you probably can get away with that also. But in Morocco, I don't think so. I don't think you would get away with that. I have not, matter of fact, since I've been here, I haven't seen anybody. I've been here 2 decades. I don't remember seeing anybody with braids. I've seen a lot of black people come here. Maybe they came as tourists, but nobody's going to mess with you as a tourist. But if you're going to come here and live like that, you may have problems. So I would be very skeptical and very, very worried about wearing locks, because here, some are brothers with locks look like women. And that's they're going to think of you as homosexual. They'll see you and they'll say, man, I don't know if this guy, if he's homosexual or something. And here in Morocco in particular, and North Africa, homosexuality is just frowned upon. And you're going to open exhibit it. That's a ticket to get your butt thrown out of Maghreb. Okay, bottom line, you get thrown out of here because homosexuality for your own safety is not approved here. I'm telling you that now. And it's not that they're polite. They're not polite about issues like that. Okay, they're not polite because it's a grave sin, period. Grave sin. I had locks visiting. Yeah, I had no problems. Yes. Okay. Yes. You can, again, I never seen any tourists come in. Yes, you can come in. But if you're living here and you claim you're Muslim, because there's a thing of, we have things in the Sharia about the woman and you know, she has long hair because she has a hijab. We have rules about that. The scholars have been talking about that because we have brothers now with naughty braids going in. They split. They said they're Muslim now going to Hajj to Saudi Arabia, and so there's some issues, and I've seen mixed reviews about that, and I would stay you know, away from that. And I tell you something else. If you come to like to Morocco in particular, okay, I think you would have a hard time as well if you start to live here and you find a woman, and they're gonna look at you to see that because especially they may think it's womanish, because North Africans are Arab by culture. You have to understand that. So Arab by culture, they don't have that understanding. You go to the Gambia or the Senegal or Senegambia or Mali, there'd be more understanding because they understand black people. This is hairstyle black people have. In the North, it's Arab culture. You got to remember that. It's different. It's a different culture. See? And so, you know, tourists is one thing, but living here, going to the masjid with that, I think you're going to have some problems. You know, you're going to have some problems if this is your choice. But anyway, brother, you come here to Morocco and, you know, you're looking for a wife. And if you got a beautiful wife and she tell you to keep your hair, you know, don't wear these and take it off, and you're a Muslim, you should do it. You should do it because you stand out here and you don't want to do that. And it's Islamically it's wrong as well. See, so you got to be careful of that. They asked me if I was regular. Yes, we'll see. The young people will see that. But people in my generation, they ain't having that. I had a discussion one time about we saw something on TV, and I remember some comments were made in Arabic language. They said, I don't know who's a woman, who's a man, because this is Arab culture. They don't understand. Now the younger generation, because they see you know, rap videos, and they see the movies now, so you know they see brothers in styles like that, so they tend to be acceptable. But the older generation, they're not acceptable. How you doing, my dear brother? Thank you for showing up, my dear brother. Thank you for showing up today. Subscribe to our brother station here. I really appreciate that. Thank you, my dear brother, for showing up. And I've been talking about my Lex. I'm just going to keep it in a fro. Yes, okay. You know, that's just an observation of mine. North Africa is a Arab culture. They're Arab by culture and language. They speak Arabic on top of that. So their cultural traits are Arabic. So it's different. West Africa, that's a different situation. You're more ready to step because we got West Africans, they have 90 braids. Okay, so that's acceptable. Here in North Africa is not really acceptable yet. Tourists, they don't care, but people living here is still not ready yet. Because the younger generation, most likely, they're more accepting of that because they see all the rap videos, they understand English better now, and they see movies, they see the basketball players, football players, they see them in the 90 braids and so forth. So they're more understanding of that. My generation, older generation, they're gonna look at you and say, hey man, you're a woman, or you're aping a woman, and you may have some problems. Especially if you see a beautiful Moroccan girl and you want to marry, you step in that man's house, he's gonna look at you and he's gonna wonder, he may just say to his daughter, hey, look, I think you should get away from this man because he looked too girlish, he's aping a woman. That's just my opinion. Okay, you know, no problem, my dear brother. I got a few more things here, and then we got any questions here? We got any more comments? And again, brothers and sisters, you know, we talk about this, and I'm hoping today we got something. And I gave you a good lesson today about you know, our ancient brothers. And you know, you got to remember that this is a impediment that keeps us from claiming our glory, because ancient Egypt, we're trying to slowly recover this, and now we have that understanding, and we have to remember that we have proof that the people in this region were black, no doubt about it, because we have linguistics to prove that. See, And that is one of the greatest stepping stones that one can have. And I'm hoping, brothers and sisters, that you got that. And, you know, I have to go back to, excuse me, again, my dear brother, we have to go back to the regions again. And this is something that is so beautiful. You know, I really love how our ancient brothers named their areas and so forth, and how they gave names, beautiful names for regions and so forth and so on. It's so beautiful, and I'm glad of that, and I love to see that. And again, the name, these names here to give you indications. These are names hieroglyph. I mean the Neher. Some are modern, some are the classical. But then this has helped you to show you that the people Kemti, the people, one person, one individual in itself. Kemti, you, the whole race of people, black people. This is what they call themselves. Kemt is the land they call black lands, meaning the land of black people in itself. So this is the evidence that you have when you look at the hieroglyphics and so forth and so on. And we talked about last, and I'll be closing this up here, and we talked about the 5 names that the Pharaoh had. The great emphasis here is the Sultan Ba, which means the south. Ba, in this instance, meaning the region where you at, or the people or group of people. Ba, because Ba was used in many instances in Neher. Ba also in religion means the soul that rests in the heavens, you know, this free spirit that's resting in the space. And then the Sultan is south. So Sultan Ba is a region of the south. They want to know, you know, hey, Marcus, hey, brother, okay, you know, where you came from, man. Oh, yeah, my Sultan Ba name is. That's what Marcus was telling me. Sultan Ba, meaning the southern region. Ba means the people. He will give you something, like in my instance, like my name. Like if Marcus asked me, he said, where are you from? Yeah, you know, what is your Sultan Ba? I would say Shabaka. You see, because I come from a region, and the Shah is probably the people. I'm thinking we're trying to figure that out. Marcus said last week he had something about the space. I had read that before too. I'm not sure the indication of that, because I still said I was going to look that up because I saw something about Shabaka. But anyway, I would say Shabaka is the region, the area of Sultan Ba. That's my region. Shah means probably the region of people where they at, and that's what they call themselves. And Ba and Ka, of course, is the people, and the Ba also meaning religious, you know, your devotion. And so from Ka the Ka is actually the religion dealing with the purification of the soul. So that is a beautiful, beautiful, language, how we had that. And okay, can you maybe do a video comparing alphabets from no, brother, that is time consuming. And you know, a lot of Aramaic. Now you used the word Aramaic. Now let me explain something to you. Our African scholars have now, and even my brother in that book I showed you last week. I've been harping about this book called The Africans Who Wrote the Bible. And in there, they were saying that our scientists now, our linguistics experts, are saying the Aramaic was is actually Amharic, but they changed it because they wanted to take it out of Africa, right? So Aramaic is actually Amharic. So I don't have the cartridge, you know, and I don't really want to get into the a lot of the alphabet or teaching Meta Neher. I just, for me, because I'm still learning it in itself, I'm not qualified to teach that. And I wouldn't even want to do that. I'm more interested, to be honest, in history and so forth and whatnot, and tying in linguistics, yes, but to teach the Meta Neher, and especially all of the different scripts, is very difficult, very, very difficult. How you doing, my dear brother? Please give your greetings to everybody when you come in. Thank you very much. Bring back Black-only schools where they can teach us. Yes, we said that, and I'm glad you mentioned that. Yes, brother, this is true. And I keep harping with African Americans. I feel even you should take a name, even if it's not official, you take an African name. I don't care if it's Swahili. I don't care if it's Arabic name. I don't care if it's a Khan or if it's coming out, if it's Hausa. You take names, even, and name your children if you can. Express if your children, tell your children, hey, name my grandson, give him a name out of Africa. We should start doing this. See, and our schools should start teaching the right history to bring our children up to speed, especially about Egypt, ancient Egypt, Kemet. It's a lost history, and we start to revive it. Was Moroccan different? Yes, I don't learn. I didn't learn that. My wife speaks the what is called Darija. This is the local dialect that's spoken. It's Arabic. It's a local dialect. Very difficult because they mix many different other languages in it. Sometimes I'm starting to catch. I'm understanding the Arabic and suddenly they throw a French word in there, and that's why I get so I get mother to cool. I would say in Arabic. What you say? But the Moroccan Arabic is very difficult. I speak classical Arabic. And that's what I understand best, and that's what I speak. The Moroccan dialect, I understand a lot of it, but I don't speak it. It's difficult. And like I said, you can hear somebody talk to you, you're talking, and you hear the Arabic, they start telling you things in the Arabic language. I mean, classical Arabic, I'm okay. And suddenly they throw in a word, a French word or something, Latin or something in there, and it throws me out. We may be getting, we may not get tired. This is why we teach our friends. Yes, hoping the scholars would pass this. Yes, I think it's going to be very difficult to have a schooling where we have it's Afrocentric. I guess that's what we call it, where we teach our history. Because not only ancient Egypt, as our brother here could attest, the Nubian history is something else as well. That takes a back seat a lot of times to ancient Kemet. We know that. But our schooling in the United States, we should, it's going to be very difficult. As long as the TUBAB is running the show, the curriculum, it's going to be very difficult for us to have the education on on Africa as it should. Because we have many civilizations here. Non-Islamic empires, and all type of history and so forth and so on here. We have a lot of that, and it's just not being taught. And like our brother said here, you almost have to go out to get it, and it's not easy, and it's really a shame. And Shabaka, that's not you. That's what you got. I tell you, I found it in the, I think it was in the book forthcoming by David, the Book of the Dead. I was flipping it, and I came to the 25th dynasty, and I start to look up my great ancestor. I start to look, and I found this part there that it took me out because I was trying to figure out where from the Sultan Ba. Okay, you know what I mean? As you heard me say, Sultan Ba, where's Shabaka Sultan Ba? Where's his Sultan Ba name? Shabaka is it. Because Shabaka kept 5 names because all of the pharaohs had 5 names. But I wanted to know the Sultan Ba, meaning his name from the south. See, and what people, Ba in this instance means the people. What people? So it's very, very interesting. It could be this. I gotta look that up. I said I was gonna do it last week. I gotta find that in the Book of the Day. I gotta find that. Sad part is now most Black people are running the school districts, but they're still fun. Yes, you said it right. Because our brother is the educator. They follow what has been taught. This is why I have been getting slack from the 2 Bibles talk a little bit. But he's sicking his dogs on me, the Black 2 Bob, that's what we call them here in Africa. But in the United States, in my radical days, in the old days, in the 70s, I'm an older man now, so I was a young punk in the 70s and stuff. We have names for them. We call them down the river Negroes. We called them hand bone. We called house Negro, you know what I mean? We call names like this for those kind of people, bourgeois. I forgot, we had all kind of names for black folk in those days when I was a young man, okay? Derogatory for, Uncle Tom, Oreo cookie. I mean, how many names that we had for black folk, who were stepping out from us, okay? We called them all kind of names, Oreo cookie. We had many names that probably you guys, younger generation, you always have. But my generation, when this black consciousness and nationalism was starting to rise, we opened up the handshakes. We had the afros, okay? We had the Afro pick, and we had our own development of black English, so we started talking these different type of dialects. And one brother who stepped out of this, we started to call him names. Hey man, you Oreo cookie, what's going on with you? I mean, I was a young punk. That was the way it was in my generation. That's how it was in those days. So forgive me for that kind of talk, but I had to go back to relive those days way, way back, 50 years or more so. And this type of language was used to describe black people and so forth who stepped out of line. And this is a true fact that our brother here is talking. It's a true fact because the people are away from many are black educators have been taught by the Tuba and they don't know any other than that. But we have to be honest here though. Some probably do know, but they can't talk because they may have a contract in a school district and system that stops them. And they may be afraid to lose their tenure if they push, because I've read where African Americans, even though they were tenured, put on a show and they got ran out. See, and people got mouths to feed and they may just toe the line. They give them a curriculum. They know it's wrong, but they do it anyway in order to keep their job. That's just speculation. Okay. But I think that may be part of some of it. And, because we still live under their thumb. So, brothers and sisters, if there's any more questions, please shoot them to me. If not, I'm going to get ready to close here. If you guys got anything else to say, you got any comments, you have any questions, please feel free to do that right now. Give me something. If you have something that you guys want to say or discuss, or you have some observations, please give that to me. Because I've given you guys a lot of proof. I know now you can do your research on this, and I'm hoping that you guys get into this and start to love the African history. Because once you start to get into it, love of African history, it'll lead you to many other arenas and avenues, and it helps to build your pride and build up your self-esteem. Because now you have, and unfortunately for us, we have to use this as ammunition because we always been torn down. So when you have people tear down Egypt to make it into not African, you will have this ammunition by giving them linguistics, giving them names, giving them where the regions where they came from. Now you will have this so you can argue. And I only say one thing that I disagree with many who are talking about this is, especially our brothers and sisters, is they should, because Egypt is a complex history. It's not easy. It's not something that's cut and dry. Because of the way it's the structures. I would like to see more because I know, but like my sister, she's not here today. She asked me some questions here about things like this. She's trying to learn. So we should gear it to, yes, we give them information so they can learn. But when you start talking about Egypt is complex. But you should break, in my opinion, my way, I try to do things. I try to explain to them that Egypt was broken up into kingdoms. The old kingdom, middle kingdom, and so forth and so on. And I try to tell them that. When I want to use a pharaoh name, there was 4,000 of them. So which pharaoh and when this pharaoh came about, and also to give them the correct name, because the Meher, it was Phari. Phari became pharaoh because the Greeks couldn't say Pharaoh, so they began to say, Pharaoh, right? Pharaoh, and so forth and so on. So we should try to give something to help them, because when they say Pharaoh, there was 4,000 4,000 of them. Which period when this happened? If we had, they said between, some said, I forgot now, each one of these is, Herodias said it was 4,000. I think with Herodias in his book Histories, he said 4,500. I can't remember that he lit his king's list. There's many. Okay, there's many. See what our brothers have to say. What other regions should we study? It all depends. When I think all of Africa, until when you get well versed in your history, then you begin to pick what you want. Okay, it's just like like you get ready to be a doctor or something. You have to study all of it to be in medicine. But then your love is dealing with the heart, okay, or you're dealing with gynecology or urology, and that's your specialty and your love. So you start to concentrate on that after you got the basics. That's what I think. The Africans should learn their African history, overall history, and then when you find something that you love, you went to study. Now the professor brought you to South Africa. You start to love the Zulu. You say, "Oh man," I said, "I love these people," and you start listening to even some of the language. You'll pick that up, and maybe you start to specialize in that region. Other brothers may specialize for me. I have this love for West Africa because my ancestors, and then Egypt because that's where they originally came from, right? And have North Africa because I have North African heritage. Amazigh. I have Amazigh heritage as well, but I'm Fulani. But on my dad's side, you heard me say 1,000 times, on my dad's side is Igbo and Yoruba. On my dad's side is a total different world because if you saw my class, I gave my family. My dad was 2 shades darker than me. My grandmother was very, very dark, and her brothers and sisters, as you heard me say, 5 years old. I left LA because I was born in California, right? I only seen people look my color, maybe a little bit darker and so forth, and lighter and so forth. So I went down to Kentucky. I found black folk that was 4 times darker than me, and my relatives. I couldn't understand. I was a 5-year-old, 6-year-old boy. I didn't understand what was going on. I kept asking my mom, I said, "Mommy, why do they look like this?" Because I didn't know. But now I understand because they were Igbo and Yoruba, see? And so that I'm very, very proud of my heritage and so forth. And I can adopt what I wanted. But you go and learn all of Africa. I studied in the university because in high school, just like our brother here, King Cam, you given a cursory history of Africa, and it wasn't complimentary in my generation. You heard me talk about this many times in my classes, and it wasn't. It wasn't until I got to university that my love and knowledge began to grow, because now I start to get around the professors. I begin to do research because I had now research library. There's no computers today. So those days you had to go to the research library, pick up stuff, and have the librarian to make copies if you wanted, and so forth and so on, the old copying machine, and so forth and so on. See, but I began to have my love for West Africa and North Africa. So each one of us specializes in something that we find we love. But like I told my sister, she should have that well-rounded. She should be able to explain. If I ask her, say, "Linda, where can you explain to me where Mozambique?" She should be able to tell me where Mozambique is without even looking at a map. She has to learn that. See, so this is what I recommend for all of us, is to learn African history, learn your regions. And then once you become very good at it, then specialize. See, specialize. If it's East Africa, specialize in that, because that's your love, specialize in it. Teach it. Mine is West Africa and North Africa. These are my babies. This is what I love. And so I study a great deal on that and so forth and so on. Could you do an episode on the Phoenicians, their statues? Yes, I most likely I will not, because there's so much on this continent that it'll be a lifetime, and I could talk about and whatnot. I'm going to stay more or less on this continent and whatnot. Yes, the Phoenicians are connected to us, but I'm going to stay mostly on our continent, because we have a lot of issues here that we should, like today. We talk about, why would I want to leave? Please understand me, dear brother. Please don't misunderstand me. I can talk about We have other black folk all the way into the subcontinent. We have black people who went into India. You know that because India was ruled by the Muslims for 1,000 years. Many of the sultans in India were black. They came from East Africa, right? I could move in there, but I will not because we have so many issues here in Africa. I just gave you one today. Ancient Kemet. We want to know about the Kemetic people. Were they black? Now I gave you something. See? So I prefer to concentrate on the continent than rather than to go outside of it. I've seen manuscripts from the Moorish Spain saying the same from Kemet and Phoenician lands before Maghreb. Yes. Maghreb came about only later. And you got to understand what Maghreb means in Arabic language. It means the West. And in the greater Western lands, we call Maghreb Aqsa in the Arabic language. Maghreb Aqsa meaning the greater Western region. Okay, so that's in Arabic language, and that's what that means. Oh, here's my sister here. How you doing, my sister? Thank you very much. And I'm glad you showed up here. And our brother here sent Phoenicians card, and that's what they said. But you know what? There was a study that's completed now showing that Hannibal and his brother and people had an EM series DNA. That's ancient Kemet. See, so I don't know, and I don't know the Phoenicians' genotype. I don't know their genotype. I haven't read anything on their genotype at all. But I know the people from Carthage, they talking about the black people that came out of there, like Hannibal, all those, they had an EM series. This is what I read. Okay, to see the people of India and Pakistan. Yes. Now, you know, there's a brother, he's me and him very close. He's come from that. He told me one day, the first time he saw me, he told me I look like his father because I think people that, they're black. And he said, I look just like his father. His father wore ema. He had a white beard, same complexion as me. That's very true. There's native black people in India and Pakistan. I'm telling you that now. Native people there in the subcontinent. Native, they're black. They've been there since time immemorial. You go to the Indian Ocean, you have the Sentinel Islands, and there, I forgot the other ones. You have Sentinel, and they have, I can't think, there's all those little islands and stuff like that. Is there black people on those islands since time immemorial, and they're very black, like they look like Africans, black Africans, and so forth and so on. It's very, very interesting. These are sent from Muslim Baptist. Yes, that's true. That's just where they came from. And I heard, I saw them when I went to Thailand. I explained that one time. I went to Thailand, and I think it was my last trip, 1997. I went to Thailand. I went to the South. I saw these black people there, and I saw them waving them because I was the only black American over there, only black person that was, in this one soak area that, and I saw these people, and I asked, my wife at that time, I asked her, I said, who was these people? She explained to me. She said, oh yeah, these people came from the Andaman Islands. They came from there. They were black like me, and they were doing this to me, and waving. I never forget that. That was very funny. But that was a long time ago in 1997. So that's what I would suggest for everybody is to learn your African history, but to study something that you like, and master that. Learn all of Africa, but then specialize in something, because you can't. Africa is so big, it's so much. You find something that you love. If it's the Zulus down south, run with that. Me, it's West Africa and North Africa. That's my babies right there. There's a lot to keep me for a lifetime on discoveries, people, civilizations. The languages. Why did someone go over here? Why did these people? How about the Fulani people? Where did they come from? How about the Siri people? How are they connected with the Fulani? How are the Tuareg? All these issues. I have a lot on the plate to cover about that region because I love this region, and I think maybe because my ancestry is the region. You know what I mean? The corridor region, North Africa, Maghreb, and in West Africa, and so forth and so on. So this is my love, and so forth and so on. So, brothers and sisters, is there any more questions? I'll be leaving here. It's late here. It's 10 o'clock at night here. It's after 10. It's 10:30 here at night and everything here. But it's well worth it to talk about a history. I wanted to get this part out to you. about our history, about ancient Egypt, and there will be, I'll get comments always as usual talking about this, but I don't care. Okay, I don't care. They won't look at the program. They'll only come after me. They'll start talking about my EMA, or they'll say something, some silly thing. I got some guy wrote that I was committing crimes. He told me in Arabic language. You see, I'll get the provocateurs. They're going to come after me anyway, but I don't care. So thank you very much, my dear brother. And, I don't care about that. But as long as I get you the information and you guys are happy, and you guys, it'll help you and to give you entertainment as well, because I'm unorthodox and everything. And it also gives you something impetus for you guys to do your studies, and even for you to do your shows. I don't mind anybody who takes something from me, you do your research and you use it. That's what we're supposed to do. We African people, you should do that. And you have to look at it from the African standpoint, brothers and sisters. I'm your elder. What does elders do? The elders teach, right? The elders give you information, education, and give you history. You take that. You teach that to your children. This is the way African custom was always running until the colonial periods of slavery, and then that was destroyed. But I'm your elder, so you take information from me. I don't have no problem if I see a program you have and you use something. I'm happy because I'm your elder. So you take something from me and you use it, that's okay. I don't have no problem. Some get very upset. They say, oh, I see this guy, Yahya, he took my program. He took little bits of it. I don't care. I'm your elder. I'm supposed to give out my experiences and education and give to you. You use it and give it to your children. That's African custom. I have no problem in that. You use that, you can. I don't care. I turned a program. I had that happen here about 2 weeks ago. I saw this one brother. He came on the show here. I mean, he was in my chat here a couple of weeks ago. I saw he had a program. He used some information. I was happy. He did that. He did his research. He said, yeah, but he didn't mention my name, but that's okay. But he took the information. That's what we're supposed to do as elders. We're supposed to teach. You guys take the information. You guys give it to your siblings, give it to your children, and we keep this African history now going. We should now be brought up to speed, and that's the way we should be doing that. Share what we know. Yes. Thank you, my dear brother. Yes, please subscribe to my station. If those who have not subscribed yet, please subscribe to my station and whatnot. And it doesn't cost you anything. It's free. Nothing in America is free anymore, right? But this one is free. You push that button. There's no problem on that. You don't have to pay no money, anything. You just press the button and, and that's it. And our brother says, alhamdulillah, yes, alhamdulillah. And that's great. Okay, my dear brothers and sisters, I think I better close here. It's late because I'm going to have to get up here in another 5 hours to start doing my night prayers and whatnot. And I'm 70. So you know how that is, right? The old man like me, they need to sleep. I'm not 20 years old anymore. I need that extra sleep and stuff like that. But I'll sleep during the day. I'll take some cat nap, something like that to catch up. And it's no problem because this is our history. We should get this history out to our people. And I'm more than honored to give this information to all of you and that you guys run with it and so forth and so on. So don't forget, brothers, sisters, one more thing and I will close. Please don't forget this, okay? Please don't forget this here, the regions, Egypt, Nubia, and then the Central Africa region. These are the names. Please don't forget that. This is your gateway to knowledge, proving that the people are Black. Please don't forget that, okay? Please don't forget that. And don't forget the name that the Kemetic people. Please memorize these names and learn the grammar a little bit to this so you can prove this. Please keep this in your bosom. This is our language that our ancient ancestors used to describe themselves and Black people. Get this knowledge, take it, run with it, hold it, and memorize it so that way you will have it, okay? And don't forget the proof of, again, when your enemies get on talking crazy about they came out of Europe and they look like Europeans. They were Europeans. They're white-skinned. You go to them and ask them, okay, you give me 3 names here, especially here, the golden horse name or the Ka name. That's going to take you to southern, is going to take you back into Black Africa, no doubt, okay? The Sultan Ba is definitely going to take you there, because they asking you, what region are you from? Because Ba talks about a region or people in that region. Sultan means south. Ba means the people or the region or the area where you're from. All this is evidence for you guys, brothers and sisters, to use when people tries to take our history away from us. You'll be able to fight that. The son of Ra, what is that? Son of Ra, again, will take you back to the south. Son of Ra means, again, this has Tawheed. In English, we say the son of God. Remember in the Bible, they talk about the son of Jesus. Was the son of God. Well, here is the son of Ra, because that's the name for Subhanahu wa ta'ala, as one of the names of Subhanahu wa ta'ala they use. Our ancient Kemetic brothers used the word Ra as meaning God. But I told you about Amen Ra, my last thing. I won't get deeper into that. But please, brothers and sisters, take this evidence, okay? Please take this evidence with you. Learn this evidence, memorize this evidence, and whatnot. Don't lose this evidence. And then the pictures of our ancestors, you talk to people about that. How can they explain this stuff off? They cannot, okay? And then again, the region, you can explain Ta Nesher, where it's from. When they start talking crazy about Europe, say, no, the Nile originated from the Ta Nesher region. This is it. This is the origin where the Nile originated from. The Nile did not, Nile is Arabic, excuse me. The Nile River did not originate in Europe. It originated in deep south central part of Africa. And this is that. And they call that region Ta Nesher. So you should get that information and run with it. And then the likenesses of the things and whatnot. I gave you proof of that. Start to learn it. Our beautiful little sisters here, look at the murals. They still braiding the hair this way. Our African-American sisters still our children with long hair, they still braid like this. That you got that from ancient Egypt. They've been doing that 5,000 years. That's nothing new, sister, that you are sitting in California. Matter of fact, my sister's still here. My mom would braid. I remember my sister had kind of braids like this. If I remember right, if my sister's still here, she can comment. I remember my mom used to braid. I think my sister's hair kind of like in braids like this. If I remember right, because it's been a long time ago. Because now my sister, I think she's almost 69. I'm 70. So we were that's a long time ago. But my sister probably remember. Because I think my mom braided my sister's hair like this. But anyway, this is proof. And again, these are native Egyptians, and then we have native Egyptians here as well. And then I gave you this indication here. Reason why I found this, because I know the journals, they were talking about the woman, and now you understand what happened in the mixing. Because a man is a man. I don't care if it's a tuba or if he's a black man. Men still nature strong, as my teacher told me. He said man's nature is to eat and mate. So when they saw these type of sisters like this, central, exotic looking, I can imagine what they felt. Okay, so just keep those things in mind, and the likenesses and so forth and so on, that we still carry these styles. Just remember that, brothers and sisters. Put this in your mind. Put it deep into the heart. Don't lose this type of history. Keep this history up, and so forth and so on, okay? Let me see here. I got, yes, my sister. Now she's talking about, yes, I had braids like that. Yes, mommy used to, I remember my mom used to braid Linda's hair like that. And many of the sisters, the little girls in our area in Compton, California, they have braids like that. That's African custom for over 5,000 years. So braiding like this is not new, brothers and sisters. It's not new, and you teach that. See, yes, all these were yes seem to be positive until the Tubal came. Yes, it's still positive because it's part of the Neher, the language that has disappeared. So that is still that. That's why if you learn some of that, it's good. And I gave you some of those indications today, like Kempti, meaning the one person, one black person, Kempti. Then Kim to you is a whole, like all these people here, you call them, you say Kim to you. I see all these came to you, all these black people. They were over by the Delta. I seen all these black people, all these, came to you. There were many of them over standing by the ocean. That's how they would describe them. Okay, so that information now you guys have that. Now you guys have this information. Run with it. Keep it in your bosom. Don't lose it. So you understand that ancient Egypt is ours, and that that these people here are Egyptians. You don't see them on the photos. You don't see them on TV. You don't see them in books because they keep this stuff quiet. They only show the white Egyptians that we have today. But now you can argue with them when they start talking crazy. I gave you the evidence for that. And our brother here says, can't wait to pass this information down. Yes, yes, my dear brother. Please pass this information on. You got this from your elder. Do your research. Pass this information on. I don't care how you use it in a program. I don't care how you guys do it. I don't have no jealousies at all. I promote everybody's station, as long as it's vain. If it's, if it's profane, that's one thing. If it's vain and profane, I said, no one's ever come to me with that. But, I would promote all stations, but keep this information and run with it. And I urge you guys, brothers and sisters, please, as your elder, I look back over my years and I wish there's many things I could have done, but I could not. I can't change the past. You guys now at the point, adopt an African name. Please, brothers and sisters, I urge you, please do this, okay? Please adopt, an African name. Please, even if you don't change it officially, you can't, an African name. Please take this and run with it, and and take a name, even if this is a name that only among the brothers. It's okay. Here it is. Please adopt an African name. Okay, I forgot to put a name there. Please take an African name, even if you use it only in the house with your children and your wife or your relatives and the brothers in the hood. I don't care. This is going to instill this Africanness in you. And then take a language. I don't care if it's from South Africa, if it's Zulu. I don't care if it's from the East, if it's Lingala, or if it's Swahili, if it's Arabic, or even Metaneher. You adopt some language, brothers and sisters, that will help you to gain your African self-respect again. I urge you, brothers in the West, even as among yourselves, you start going to the hood, tell the brothers, hey man, look, I'm Kwame now. Okay, don't call me John or Billy or Larry. Start calling me, Kwame, or start calling me Yahya, or start calling me Mohammed, or start calling me like a girl name. The sister say, start calling me Chinara. Okay, all these are African names. Adopt an African name, even if you don't change it, but adopt an African name that you like, and from some African dialect, and use that. This is what I recommend to all the brothers. Please do this. Please. Yeah. Yes. My brother has. Yes, he has. And he has done that. And our brother here says, please adopt African. Cracked me up. Wait a minute. Please adopt an African. I don't know what you mean by that. Please crack me up. I don't know what you mean by that. My dad gave me an Arabic name a long time ago. Good thing I still remember. Yes, dear brother, take the names and adopt that. I remember some things in the hood that the brothers adopted these hood names. What I mean, Pookie and all that kind of stuff. It's funny we can do that, but how many of us will be willing enough to take an African name? See, like Kwame from Ghana, a name like this. Okay, Azikiwe. Okay, from like from Nigeria, something like that. How about why can't we do that? But they taking names that don't even have no meaning to it. It's silly. We don't even know what those names mean. We're adopting names like this. Why don't you take a name that has a meaning, that has something behind it? See, like Kwame or Azikiwe. Yeah. See, it means the light. I mean, there's a lot of names that we can use, and you adopt these African names. I don't care where it's from. It's from Morocco, or is from South Africa or Egypt, you adopt an African name. Please do that. Okay, brothers and sisters, do that in the hood, among the brothers. We know you may not be able to do this professionally, meaning you can't go to the court because of your jobs. No problem. But you go outside and you with the brothers, you say, hey man, look, you got to start calling my dick man. Instead of you calling yourself Pookie, some of these other names that they use for the hood and all that, stop that. They don't mean any, those names mean nothing. Kwame has a meaning. Yahya has a meaning to it. Ezekwe has a meaning to it. See, there's many other names that also has meaning. Take those names and adopt it and stuff, and this instills the African pride in you. And then secondly, try to adopt a language, even if you start slow, and to take this language and start learning a little bit at a time, because now on YouTube, you got all kind of people teaching all kind of languages now, African dialects. There's no excuse for you not to learn something, even though you can't come to Africa, my brothers in the United States or the Caribbean, they bring Africa to you. That's my slogan. Yes, gave birth to Ba and Del. Yes, yes. Okay. Thank you, dear brother, for that. Please, when you come to, please greet us. When you come to the show next time, my dear brother, please give your greetings to everybody. But yes, it's true. Gave birth to Ba and Del. Now, this is Fulani. This is Fulani here. This is Fula here. These are names that we have is prevalent. Even in Hausa, we have Ba. It's also prevalent in names. Ba is used, especially in the Fulfulde dialects. Ba is big, and Jello is more on the corridor region of West Africa, the Sahel region. This name is more prevalent. Ka and Bra is prevalent also, especially in the eastern part of the eastern corridor of the Sahel and stuff like this, Nigeria and whatnot. So we have that, and we still that. Kara is still another name. We can trace all these names back to ancient Egypt. All of this, brothers and sisters, with the Fulani people. And as you heard me say before, the Fulani people were deeply, deeply embedded into religion called Ka. They were very, very, to the point that you, my brothers, there, in the corridor region and stuff like this, and in the eastern corridor region, you still have the names Kara, Bari, okay, Saul, Giallo, all that is all ancient Egypt. So that's for my Fulani brothers. You guys should understand that. And that's the other thing, I'm glad, brothers and sisters, please get your DNA. If you can afford it, please get your DNA. If you can, go to Jet Match, which is free. Jet Match, you heard me talk that many times. It'll give you the best knowledge about who you are, and it breaks it down. Others tell you you're from Mali, you're from so-and-so, but they don't give you a lot of the ethnic makeup. You'll get the ethnic makeup and run with it. If you find out that you're Hausa, or you found that you Bambara, or whatever the situation, Tuareg, you pick one that you want and adopt that one, okay? On your mom's side or your dad's side, it makes no difference. You take, if you found you Mandinka, you like the Mandinka people, you take that and run with that. Try to contact Mandinka people to start to fellowship with them, to learn about the Mandinka people. Like, okay, on my side, I accept the Fulani because I have more Fulani heritage than I have everything else in Africa. There's more Fulani. So I took that. So now, I have a lot of Fulani brothers, sisters, friends, and whatnot, and so forth. This is what you do in fellowship, okay? And you fellowship with the brothers that that you got ethnic group, like the Hausa people. You start fellowshipping with the Hausa people. Get in Facebook, find Hausa people, and start explaining, say, hey, look, I was born in the United States, but I found out I'm Hausa, and begin to adopt that. Brothers and sisters, is a big difference. And I'm hoping that you guys did do something like this from your elder advice to help you to increase your African heritage knowledge, and also your spirit, to bring you closer to be proud of who you are, because this is very important in our life. Yes, and thank you very much, my dear bro, for this comment. And you guys just listen to your elder on this, and you'll know what I'm right by when you start to adopt that. take that name, even if you can't go professionally with it or you can't have it official. Take a name, African name there in the United States, and run with it. Take a language, learn your ethnic group, who you are, and run with that. Okay, run with it the best way you can to reclaim your history and so forth, and being proud of who you are, because we're still lacking in that. So I must leave, brothers and sisters, with that. So I will end it here. Thank you all for showing up today. I really appreciate that, brothers and sisters. I really appreciate you, those who showed up today. I'm happy that you guys showed and whatnot, and I'm hoping that the next time we meet again here, inshallah, bi'ifnillah, my sister, my dear brother, always show up, my Fulani brother. Thank you very much. And my brother here, King Cam, he's always present, always giving me support. Appreciate that. And I'm hoping that, that you guys will come the next time around. I got a subject. Every time I want to do something, I always have something come up, and, and I find something else that I want to talk about. So probably most likely, if Subhanahu wa Ta'ala guides me, I will, probably come up with something else in the near future. So my brothers and sisters, I will leave it here. Assalamu alaikum. Rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.